Hello, everybody. It's Luis Vargas Aboite again here with you, the third video in our series. Today, I want to talk about optimizing your VR experience for HoloAnatomy. So, before getting into the application, I think it's most important that your environment is where you want it to be, your settings are adjusted, and then you understand how to move around the space. And knowing this and having this done really helps you enjoy your HoloAnatomy, your virtual reality session. And then it's always good to know that when you're using the application, you can always find a way to get back into the settings and adjust these even more to fine tune that so your experience is a lot much nicer. So, as we talked about previously with the headset, when you have it on, it's most important it's level to view these holograms at the best. Your head strap plays a large role in it being comfortable as well and making sure it's level with your head. So having the head strap at a right setting is very important, as well as the eye spacers here. So we talked about these in another video, but if you can see this button here, when you press it and you pull away, it adjusts this brow pad so that your eyes can be either farther from the lens or closer from the lens, right? So if you have glasses, you might need that number 4, that kind of silver one right there. If you don't have glasses, you might want your eyes to be closest to the lens. You can use the number 2 there, or the 1 meaning closest to the lens, 4 meaning the farthest away. So again, how you do it is you press that button, and when you press it, you can either push in or you press and you push out. And you'll do it so that they're even on the same side, right? Another important thing to do is clean your lens. It will make such a great impact if you clean this here and there's no smudges, as well as the outside too. It'll really improve your view. Some students sometimes say, I did all the settings and I go into their headset and I clean it and they're like, wow, it's so clear. So I know it sounds so simple, but it's really important to remember that cleaning this will really improve your experience. And one note, for our glass wearers, be careful of your glasses touching these lenses because it could scrape them. And that's why I think it's so important that you always adjust your settings to the farthest one, so there's space between your glasses and the Quest lenses. Okay, with that being said, let's jump into the settings. One other important part that we should do in the beginning is really find where IPD is. This here, when you adjust it, as you can see on my view, you'll get a number. So my IPD is set to 64. That's after I measured it with an application. We recommend the iMeasure application for our Apple users. For our Android, there's applications like Glassify Me, and we will show some during orientation, and you can just look them up on Google and it'll give you suggestions. So once you get that number, you'll scroll until you get to that desired number, and then I always recommend testing out a couple and see if it improves. Maybe it measured it a little higher or lower than normal. So I still recommend adjusting it a little bit as you go through your HoloAnatomy experience. And now we'll get into the headset. So like we talked about in our previous video, this gives you our menu, right? That putting your palm to your face or putting your palm within the view of your headset and then pitching quickly your thumb and index, kind of like so, right? So when I pinch like that, I have my navigator, my menu. So HoloAnatomy is there. We'll go into that in the next video. But for this video, we're going to go into our settings so we can really optimize our view before we get into the HoloAnatomy session. So the one thing I recommend to adjust here are the environment setup, the movement, accessibility, display, and brightness. Those 4 settings are going to be important when you're getting into your session. So you can see here, when I pinched and I held, I was able to scroll. If I didn't want to do that, I could also bring it close to me and then use my finger to scroll, kind of like so. And all I did there was grab this settings tab and I moved it towards me, kind of like this. So pinch and then move your hand into you, and now my screen is here. So let's go through some of these settings to adjust our view. So environment setup, I always recommend doing this one first, the space setup. It'll take you to some steps. After you do that, you adjust your boundary. Very important you adjust your boundary. I don't like to clear them because I like to remember where my boundary is every time I'm into lab. But if not, it's really easy to set them up, and we'll show you how to do that um, in this video towards the end. I also adjust your turn angle, right? How much you turn left or right, and then how quick those transitions are. So for me, I have these settings. I, encourage you to try what works best for you as well. And here is a movement for the controllers. I'm on hands. If you decide to use your controller, you can adjust it there, but just keep in mind the school will not provide you with more batteries. We have batteries in there for emergencies, but if you really want to explore with the headset, with the controllers, you're going to have to provide your batteries and dig into how to use controllers with the video I will provide towards the end. The next one is the accessibility. This is probably the most important one to do here. So vision, this contrast will help you greatly. It'll adjust your view for you. I usually have my contrast towards the middle. Some students I see in lab will have it really light or they'll have it really dark. So, like I said, really test things out, see what's best for you. Some students will even have the really large text, good for them, right? They'll also adjust the color correction if our students are colorblind as well. And the last one we will do is the display and brightness. If you really want something clear and the brightness and the light helps you, you can adjust that brightness there. You can also select this deeper scene contrast. I know some students have this on as well. And that is it for the most part. If you do have accommodations, I'll work with you more one-on-one to figure out what's the best for you. But in lab, I encourage you to kind of test these things out and find what is the best for you, what are the best visuals for you. But again, I will be here in lab and office hours to help walk you through this if you do need some more support. All right, so now we have our settings adjusted. One thing I want to share is, as a first user of this, I want to push the 20-20-20 rule. For every 20 minutes of use, take a 20-second break and look at something 20 feet away. As a new user, it might take some time for your eyes to adjust to this augmented reality, right? So I highly recommend you taking breaks in the beginning. As you start to use this more, like myself, it'll just be a lot easier and you'll get used to being on this headset for longer periods of time. So it's very important. The Meta and a few companies also offer prescription inserts. I personally don't use them just because my glasses are more for reading. So if you want some more information on that, please let me know. I have a few recommendations for some users that I've kind of done research for that have those prescription inserts. We went over the accessibility settings, which were the most important part. And we also have accommodations. If you're struggling with the lens and the visuals aren't working, I will sit with you and work on adjusting your headset for you so that your experience is the best. And we also have an admissions committee that can review your accommodation. Sorry, not admissions, accommodations committee. They will review your case and will work with you to provide you with accommodations for the headset if it's not working for you. But there's always solutions, so please ask for help. We are here to help you as much as we can. So before I leave, the one thing I want to go over quickly is going to be that boundary, because that is probably one of the most important things that we use here. So let's get into our navigator. Again, pressing our thumb and index, going to our quick settings. This is also very important. And then going to our boundary. You're going to select that. It'll ask you to adjust. It'll scan the room. And if there's anything you can get out of the video, it's going to be this: never use stationary boundaries. I always prefer room scale. It means you can walk around your space, interact with the holograms a lot better. So with that room scale boundary, we're going to choose our boundary, select that it's room scale. It's going to ask us to look at the floor, making sure that those plus signs are level with the floor. Then we're going to hit confirm, and now we're going to draw our boundary. For this pod, this is how I would draw my boundary. I would draw it like so. If my table was really close, what I would do is maybe I'll draw a little bit over to where my seat is if I can. And that means that if I want to take a break and sit down, then at least I can still see the holograms from my chair, right? Anything that is outside of that space, you're applications will pause and you will not be able to see anything. So again, keep that in mind when you're doing your boundary. Again, I'll show you one more time how to get there because it's really important. And it's so simple, right? You're going to go to your quick settings here, right? Go to boundary and you're going to adjust that boundary, right? When we get into our HoloAnatomy session, I'll remind you all that you first want to open the HoloAnatomy app and then turn this boundary on, just because you need to give the lens a reason for that boundary. And if you open the HoloAnatomy app first, it'll tell it that the boundary I need is for HoloAnatomy, so let's turn it on. Okay, that's all I have for this video. I hope it helped. If you have questions, please ask me. I'm everywhere sometimes, so just kind of wave me down. I hope this video was helpful, and we'll see you on the next video for our HoloAnatomy introduction.